I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music. Today, I think Tom and I are pretty excited to review Chevelle's new album, Hats Off to the Bull. Chevelle is a very heavy band.
Yeah.
A rock band, and Tom absolutely loves Chevelle.
I do.
And that's understandable. So Tom, take it away. Tell us about this cool band and their new album.
Well, it's the more radio rock, side of my taste, I guess. Because these guys, since their second album, Wonder What's Next, have had just extreme commercial success. And I think that's good. I think that, unfortunately, it steers people away sometimes from listening to them. If you're on the more kind of indie hipster side of things, I don't want to listen to anything on the radio, well then maybe you don't listen to this band. At the same time, I think there's lots of bands like this that aren't on the radio that you should listen to. So, these guys are in that kind of middle ground where it's easy for a lot of people to love them and easy for a lot of people to hate them.
True.
I happen to really like them. I'm not ashamed of it. Wonder What's Next is one of my favorite albums of all time. I absolutely love it. And I think that this is a good next step from there. I think this is their sixth album in the Chevelle discography. I see a lot of maturity in their songwriting here, a lot of subtleties that weren't really present on a lot of their older albums that help make this just exactly what I said, a great next step. Like, I really wasn't expecting this from these guys. This is one of those bands that I have that kind of relationship with where I somehow always end up liking them, yet I always expect myself to be disappointed somehow.
And when we reviewed 2009 Sci-Fi Crimes, like right when VIMTV started, it was actually half an hour. It was a horrible review. I went back and watched it. It's awful, and I just hated it. And back then, I really didn't have my music reviewing chops on me, and I've developed a taste for this style. I will say I've gone back and listened to Sci-Fi Crimes, liked it a little bit better, but it was more aimed. It seemed aimed towards that radio-friendly rock. Yeah. Where this seems much more of an album. They really took their songwriting to the next level, which was something that I really enjoyed. But you mentioned to me earlier, Tom, something specific about the production.
Oh yeah, the production is the big thing to me that makes this a move away from the pop sound. Number one, a lot of the songs on here, especially track 1, Face to the Floor, which is the big single from this album, the vocals are very low in the mix, which generally, in a hard rock record like this, if you bring the vocals down in the mix, that is a very, very strong step away from the pop scene. Because in pop, that's what a lot of people attach to. They attach to that vocal melody. And when it's not there, just blaring in your face, you have to dig a little more. And fortunately, there's a lot to dig through on this. There's a lot more dynamics. Also, like I said, I love Wonder What's Next, but Wonder What's Next is one of the loudest, most heavily compressed albums I've ever listened to. Everything is just up to 11 on that. And so if there is anything in that mix, it comes out to the forefront. You can hear everything that's going on so clearly that it almost becomes one layered. Whereas here, there are a lot of different layers, a lot of little things. I mean, the bass guitar even isn't always clean. There's a lot of dirty spots in there that help kind of thicken it up, but then contrasted with a lot of cleaner, more straightforward spots. And I think that variety really helps make this album a fluid listen and just a good move for the band.
I really liked how they structured the album too. They did a good job of identifying the intensity level of each track and then ordering and structuring the album in an order that allows the intensity to grow as you listen to it. And I actually do like, typically I don't like when you change the album's direction right before the end of the album, but track 10, Prima Donna, is Chevelle usually puts an acoustic song on every album.
I honestly always really like their ballads.
They do a very good job.
They're good at 'em.
Highland's Apparition on the previous record was one of my favorite tracks on that album. I think that Prima Donna is not quite up to that level, but still works very well with this album, and is a nice way to kind of draw the album into the closer of Clones, track 11. But as they kept, this album approaches you by just blasting you with 3 pretty darn good but standard Chevelle tracks, and then I feel like tracks 4 through 7 really kind of change up the Chevelle strategy, and they're more aggressive. They almost sound at Muse-esque at times in their instrumentation, and the whole concept to me was was just clearly the songwriting, whereas, you know, in Sci-Fi Crimes, I still complain about, you know, the verse, chorus, bridge, chorus format, and these guys are just champions of that format. They still do that here, but their songwriting has improved so that they're doing pre-choruses, they're doing all these different things with the instrumentation that allow those choruses to take a much more natural format. You don't notice them so much.
In repeated parts of the song structures, they'll maybe like drop out an instrument or switch up the production method a bit, and it really keeps it fresh.
And another thing I noticed is where they were really hardcore on the chorded choruses, and you know, just playing just these power chords to these choruses, and just having the vocalist Pete Loeffler, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, when he's just screaming, you know, or singing his voice, which I love his vocals. That's not so present here. They do more with it. It's more dynamic, and I really appreciated that jump. You know, All Music. What did All Music say? We're gonna quote All Music.
Oh yeah.
This band has always sounded like Tool to me.
And people have always compared them to Tool, which is fair, really. I mean, obviously these guys are more into the kind of. I mean, Tool, they have like 7 or 8 minute sprawling tracks. These guys are a little more to the pop mentality of the 3 or 4 minute tracks in general. But I think All Music said that if Tool is like that kind of rebellious teen, then this is their more well-groomed younger brother who goes and plays basketball at some Ivy League school. And I thought that was a perfect comparison because it really is. It's that good kind of progressive hard rock, but just trimmed up, just cleaned up.
Yeah. And when you compare this album, which I thought this album was actually fairly good, but when you compare it to, you know, the rock juggernaut albums of the last couple years, you know,
Mastodon,
Coheed and Cambria's Year of the Black Rainbow, Deftones, Diamond Eyes, you know, Thursday's album we reviewed earlier this year. You know, those albums are what I consider these new rock juggernauts that, you know, I'm starting to compare all rock releases to. I don't think this is up to that level yet. No. Specifically, I thought they covered up Pete's vocals a little bit in this. They didn't let his ability as a vocalist come out as much as they did in prior albums, which is understandable. They were focused on the instrumentation here. So if you play guitar or bass, definitely take that to heart when you hear that, because this album was aimed for the instrumentation. Overall, I'm sitting at like a 77 for this one.
I'll go 79.
So a pretty good score from us. You know, that upper 70 score is just a mark of a really solid album. Not something we're totally in love with, but something that is very good and definitely deserves a try for you guys. So tell us what you thought of Chevelle's Hats Off to the Bull at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.